Let's talk about Kame a little bit. What is your interpretation of that? Because I hear, you know, people say death, and then I hear people say transformation, and those are just like two words, right? There's so much depth to every nawal or day sign that, yeah, I'd like to hear what your interpretation is in a little bit more depth than just death, because that can mean so many different things to so many different people.
Hmm. Yeah, knowing that nawales are archetypes, they have vast meaning, a lot of depth into the meaning of it on in all directions, knowing that each nawal has the bright side of it and the dark side of it. So when we think about death as an important archetype in our life, it means all that is related to it when we think about it, when we feel into it. So both the negative aspect, which is the mourning, the difficulty, the challenge of letting go. So it is also about attachment. Death as a teacher that comes and takes away. And when we are ready for it, when we detach from it, when we let go, then it's also something very blissful. So death as something that we call when we want to let go of something that doesn't belong to us or doesn't serve us anymore. So Kame, for the Mayan perspective, is also the death of problem, the death of sickness. It is also a space because we can see death as something quite silent, quite open. It is a space, like infinite space, and we often need that when it's too crowded in our head, in our life, in our dynamics, and we need some space. We also call Kame to make that space. That's the same quality which we call when we want to clean our surrounding, our house, when we take the trash out, when we make cleaning in our, ceiling, I call it the attic,
Hmm.
and all those places where things were hidden, staying there in our house for a little bit too long. There comes time when we want to clean it up, and that's the quality of the archetype of Kame, of death, to let go for the purpose of creating space. And that's a very important aspect when we talk about Kame, when we want to transform, which means to change shape, because transforming is like a Latin name for changing the shape of things. When we want to change the shape of our experiences in our life, when we want to invite something, we pray for something, we need to create space. That's when we call the Kame, to make that road clean and empty in front of us, to invite something new to our life. If we want to have a partner, we first ask ourselves, do we have space for that partner in our life? We look around. Is there space in place where I'm living to have partner, to have kids? Do I have capacity for having more resources for what I want to do? Because often we pray for things to add things to our life. We want to add, but then we often don't see that importance of the negative aspect. Negative means to take away, to purify, to let go, to create that space for it to arrive. So, in our mind, especially on our mental level, do I have capacity? Do I have space in my life? Do I have time for it? Do I have energy for it? That's where Kame comes to also, confront us with that. And sometimes, because we pray so much for something new to be added to our life, Kame can come and say, okay, I hear your prayer. Let me take this and this away from your life. So now you will have space and time. This is very important teaching for all of us when we consider past experiences, when we felt that we lose something, we can realize that we lost something for the benefit of space to have something new in our life. I love repeating that phrase that I learned from my teacher in my early childhood, saying, "Don't be afraid to lose. Affirm and pray that God has always something better for you." And when we think about Kame in terms of transformation, it's change with the purpose of bringing something better. It's very important, that positive aspect of death. We let go of something, we lose in order to have something new. So, of course, it is the physical death, and in terms of Mayan cosmovision, they perceive death as a new beginning, so it's always related, the beginning and the end. Just like the Mayan calendar being a cycle, a circle, it doesn't have a fixed beginning and a fixed end. Kame is there to tell you, finish this chapter, go forward.